If you accidentally fall into this lake, your body will not decay. You won't be eaten by fish, nor will you decompose. You will be preserved alive. And then you will lie there, intact, like a stone statue for years. Welcome to Myth Trace, where nature doesn't just create life. It also writes silent judgments with alkali, fire, and salt. In today's video, we will explore Lake Natron, Africa's deadliest lake, where death doesn't carry the stench of decay but takes the form of immortality. Located in northern Tanzania, near the border with Kenya and at the foot of the Ol Doinyo Langai volcanic range, Lake Natron is one of the strangest saline lakes on Earth. This is not a typical tourist destination but a place dubbed the Gateway to Hell for its fiery red landscape and its ability to turn creatures into stone statues after death. The lake spans approximately 56 kilometers long and 24 kilometers wide, with its depth varying by season. Its most distinctive feature is its extreme alkalinity, reaching a pH of up to 10.5 due to high concentrations of sodium carbonate and mineral salts accumulated from volcanic lava. The water's surface temperature can reach 60 degrees Celsius, making it an environment nearly uninhabitable for most life forms. In numerous scientific studies, such as those in the Journal of Great Lakes Research, Lake Natron is noted as a habitat for a few specialized species, including alkali-adapted tilapia fish and millions of lesser flamingos that come to nest. However, any creature that falls into the lake and cannot withstand its harsh alkalinity will quickly become mineralized and petrified, creating eerie yet stunningly beautiful forms. Lake Natron was first described in detail in late 19th century expedition records, and to this day, it remains a subject of scientific research on biological adaptation and natural mineralization. Part 1. Where death hardens like stone. If death had a form, it might lie silently in northern Tanzania, at the foot of the Galai mountain range, where a lake exists so strange. It doesn't belong to the world we know. The Maasai call it by an ancient name tied to salt and stone, Natron. And true to its name, Lake Natron doesn't foster life but preserves death, like a cold sculptor of nature. Imagine standing on the lake's shore under the scorching African sun. The water's surface glimmers with a red hue, as if someone's blood has mixed with it. A white crust coats the small rocks, and in the still, windless air, something lies there. A bird, motionless, feathers ruffled, eyes half closed, posed as if still in flight. But it's dead, its flesh hardened, encased in a thick layer of salt so striking that it's called a living corpse of stone. This is no legend, it's real, and it happens every year. Thousands of dead birds, bats, and insects are found around Lake Natron in near-perfect condition. As if time has stopped, decay has been stripped of its power, and the creature's body is preserved in the posture of its death. No other place on Earth has characteristics like Lake Natron. With an alkalinity that can reach a pH of 10.5 to 12, the lake's water contains extremely high levels of sodium carbonate decahydrate, a substance the ancient Egyptians used to mummify pharaohs. According to research by the geology team led by Christopher A. Scholes at Syracuse University, the unique chemical composition is due to eruptions from Ol Doinyo Langai, the only volcano in the world that spews sodium-rich carbonatite lava. This means Lake Natron isn't just a lake. It's a natural embalming chamber, operated by the breath of the earth itself. Each time a creature falls into the lake, the hot water sterilizes and dehydrates it rapidly, while the high salt and alkali encase the body, preventing bacteria from thriving. No stench of decay, no insects, just absolute silence, and a corpse like a sculpted statue, both mesmerizing and chilling. Photographer Nick Brandt, during his 2011 expedition, captured images of the petrified birds around the lake. He didn't just photograph them but posed the carcasses as if they were spreading their wings to fly, resulting in a haunting photo series titled Across the Ravaged Land that stunned the world. What's even more unsettling is that these images used no special effects. They are real, statues of flesh and bone, sculpted by nature with salt and death. Local people believe this is a cursed lake, where souls are trapped forever. But for scientists, natron is a rare chemical miracle of Earth. NASA has even listed Lake Natron among extreme ecosystems resembling Martian environments, studying it for insights into the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Yet, the beauty of Lake Natron doesn't come from shocking photographs. It comes from a contradiction only Earth could create. A place that can kill, yet is also where hundreds of thousands of flamingos choose to give birth. Because here, there are no crocodiles, no predators. Nothing can survive except them. A lake of death, but a safe haven for beginnings. Where else in the world can be both an eternal grave and a cradle for new generations? Only Lake Natron. Part 2. The Paradox of Death and Life. Lake Natron isn't a place you can visit and leave without something etched into your mind. While scientists find in it a gateway to big questions about life and death, for the Maasai people living around the lake, Natron holds a different meaning, a place where the boundary between humans and gods blurs. The Maasai believe that, in ancient times, their ancestors witnessed a fiery eagle land in the middle of the lake, leaving streaks of flame across the sky. After that came a season of mass bird deaths. Since then, they never swim or fish in the lake or not out of fear of death, but because they believe the souls of the petrified creatures remain alive, trapped between two worlds. And eerily, science doesn't entirely dismiss this. In a 2018 study published by the ecology team at Brown University, researchers discovered certain halophile microorganisms that can thrive in Lake Natron despite its extreme alkalinity. These microbes have a distinctive red pigment, the reason the lake appears blood red under sunlight. This also explains why flamingos, seemingly fragile creatures, can survive and nest here. Greater flamingos, Phoenicopterus roseus, choose Lake Natron as their primary breeding ground in East Africa. Each year, hundreds of thousands flock here, building nests on small islands that emerge when the water recedes in the dry season. Remarkably, the high alkalinity protects them from egg-eating predators like hyenas or jackals. No creature dares approach. According to data from the conservation organization BirdLife International, over 75% of East Africa's flamingo population is born at Lake Natron, meaning the only paradise for these birds lies in the heart of a place where death is as ever-present as the air. On one hand, the lake kills fledglings that slip from their nests. On the other, it protects them from the entire outside world. This is the strangest biological paradox ever recorded. Life and death don't oppose each other but coexist. An environment too extreme to sustain life becomes an impregnable sanctuary because nothing else can survive. And when the rainy season arrives, the petrified bird carcasses remain undecayed, like markers of time. Each corpse is a warning, a memory, a lesson. Some researchers, like Dr. David Harper from the University of Leicester, UK, have emphasized, in Lake Natron, we see a perfect model for understanding how another planet might sustain life. What if another world, with high alkalinity and extreme temperatures, fosters life in ways we never anticipated? This means Lake Natron, often called a lake of death, is a doorway, not a dead end. It doesn't just preserve dead creatures but opens opportunities to study evolution and adaptation. It poses a question no one can easily answer: what is living, and what is being frozen in an eternal moment? We often think of life as something that moves, grows, changes. But when you stand in Lake Natron, seeing silent petrified bird statues in the wind and hearing flamingo chicks calling for their mothers on salt islands, you realize, sometimes, life is about preserving a moment so vividly that no one dares forget it. Part 3. When nature forces humans to reflect. What do you think would happen if we tried to change a place like Lake Natron? For years, projects to mine minerals, extract soda ash, alkali salts, and even divert water around the area have been seriously considered by the Tanzanian government and international corporations. And as a reflex of nature, biologists, conservationists, and climate scientists began to speak out. In 2012, the WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature, released a cautionary report stating, if the ecosystem at Lake Natron is altered, we could lose the entire breeding population of East Africa's greater flamingos, leading to a cascade of ecological collapse with immeasurable consequences. Because Lake Natron is unlike anywhere else. It's a closed system, an extreme yet stable ecosystem. Like touching a 1,000-year-old machine running perfectly, a single tweak could cause everything to crumble. And when it comes to Natron, it's not just about the birds. The lake's water flows to the Ngorezero River, the lifeline for thousands of Maasai families. Any change here, whether a water diversion, a factory, or mass tourism, could severely disrupt the natural cycle. Dr. Kimberly Brown from the University of California, who has studied alkaline environments and salt lakes in East Africa for over 12 years, once wrote, "Lake Natron is the only place I've stood and felt watched by the environment itself. Not by predators, not by people, but by the silence itself asking, are you here to learn or to destroy? Lake Natron doesn't need us to survive. But we need it to understand the limits of adaptation and to reflect on our delusional belief in controlling nature." The irony is that the more people are drawn to Natron's haunting beauty, from photographers like Nick Brandt with his famous Petrified Bird series to documentary film crews, the more fragile it becomes. And so, the question is no longer why does this lake kill everything, but will humans become the next to be turned into stone, not by salt, but by arrogance? In a world where we believe technology can fix everything, Natron reminds us that some places don't need fixing, mining, or interference, they just need to be left alone. Part 4, Statues of Memory. If there's a place on this planet that makes you feel like you're standing at the boundary of life and death, it's Lake Natron. No fanfare, no warnings, no thunder or landslides. Just a still water surface like a cracked old mirror reflecting everything we've forgotten, limits, humility, and memory. For the Maasai, the petrified bird statues aren't death. They are frozen memories. Proof of a cycle nature has never forgotten, where a creature may die in a moment but lives forever in an unmoving form, leaving a message without words. When photographer Nick Brandt released his Across the Ravaged Land series in 2013, the world seemed to look directly at Natron's deadly silence for the first time. In the photos, fallen birds, calcified and rigid as stone, were posed in their living stances, a flamingo spreading its wings, a hummingbird tilting its head, a small sparrow as if still singing. But what you don't see in the photos is the taste of dry salt on your tongue, the 49-degree heat rising from the lake's surface, or the only sound echoing, the wind whispering through the bird carcasses. No one can walk into Lake Natron and leave unchanged. Because it's not just the birds that are frozen. Human perception is too. This place isn't a symbol of apocalypse. It's not a warning of disaster. It's an invitation inviting you to rethink what life truly means. Perhaps living isn't about constant motion. Perhaps living is about leaving something eternal. Globe showing Europe, Africa, and if you're wondering, what can we do to protect this place? Start with respect. Don't come just to take photos. Don't see it as a mystery to solve, but as a story to listen to. Because if Lake Natron is lost one day, it won't just be a dried-up lake. It will be a page torn from the Book of Earth. Lake Natron is a spectacular but extremely dangerous natural wonder if you're unprepared. The lake's water has extremely high alkalinity, pH 10.5, and temperatures that can reach 60 degrees Celsius, enough to cause chemical burns to skin and eyes with prolonged contact. Do not swim or soak in the lake. Additionally, the surrounding area is intensely hot, arid, and rugged, so bring ample water, sunglasses, sunscreen, and specialized footwear. If you want to photograph the petrified statues' mineralized animal remains, never touch them with bare hands, as their surfaces may contain mildly corrosive salts and chemicals. Experts recommend traveling with a local guide and avoiding close proximity during extreme heat, as high temperatures and toxic gases rising from the lake's surface can cause breathing difficulties. If you're hearing these words, thank you for listening not just with your ears, but with your mind. You've just walked through a land where every life and death is etched into every grain of salt. Thank you for joining Earth Wonder. See you at the next wonder, where nature will once again leave us speechless. Wishing you a peaceful night or a day full of reflection.